Lights out! Away we go!
Good evening. Shortly after we finished recording this evening's programmes, we learnt of the desperately sad news of the passing of Murray Walker OBE at the age of 97. Murray Walker was Mr. Formula One, the voice of Formula One. His knowledge, his passion, his enthusiasm for the sport knew no bounds, and he was universally loved in the paddock and pit lane. Our deepest condolences go to his family and friends. And for the next half hour, we'll do what Murray Walker loved to do best, talk about Formula One. Hello and welcome to Ted's Testing Notebook for day 2 of the pre-season test ahead of the 2021 FIA Formula One World Championship. And it's a championship that's on my mind today. Who's going to win the championship? Because today is front and back day. We're going to look at who's going to win the championship, who's going to challenge for the championship, and then who's going to be towards the back of the grid or the pit lane or the paddock, and whether they're going to stay there. One of those teams is Williams. Driver used to drive for Williams is Valtteri Bottas. But a driver who drives now for Mercedes is Valtteri Bottas.
That is correct.
See, that was just seamless. Anyway, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Very good. Very good.
How was your winter? Murray Walker used to say around this time testing every year, he said, "Did you winter well?" And I always like that, to winter. It's like a verb.
I did actually. I had proper winter as well. I went back to Finland for...
Let me just angle that. There we go. Yeah. That's a bit, there we go.
Went back to Finland for some time.
Yep.
So yeah, proper winter training, enjoying all the winter sports, and yeah, it was nice.
Now tell me about some of the sports that you did, because you were talking around the car's launch, the unmistakable eyes of Gerhard Berger.
Oh.
You were talking, Gerhard Berger, someone completely different. You were talking about, you did some things that made you tough.
Yeah, I could say so.
What, like what?
Training in extreme cold.
Okay.
Some long sessions with snowshoeing, middle of nowhere, running, even though it was stupid cold for running. That didn't make sense, but I think it's good for your mental strength, I guess. But yeah, just really solid training block in any way, and yes, just trying to not to have anything easy way.
So sort of like, you know, special forces commando training, like, you know, like it can't get worse than this. What can get worse than this? No instance in a Grand Prix where I will feel worse than what I'm doing now, burying myself in snow and being freezing and
probably
having a horrible time.
Yeah. Unless it's really hot. That's also not very nice, but I can deal with it.
Okay.
So I'm ready.
Good. Well, I like that. Why did you decide that was like a cool thing? Because I know what winters in. Well, I came and visited you in Nastila. I mean, normally it's boys' sauna evenings and a dip in the in the. Did you do any of the boys' sauna evenings?
Yeah, I did.
Good.
Yeah,
oh, excellent. Did you go in the frozen lake?
Yes.
Good.
I did.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, of course.
Good. But did you just decide that, you know, try something different, or have you done that every winter and we just don't know about?
I've done it sometimes, but now I've just, I don't know, felt like I had even more extra motivation, and just feel like the mindset for me has been pretty good, and yeah, I'm just ready to give it all, like ready to give everything I have and have nothing the easy way, and yeah, kind of mentally being in Siberia, you know what I mean, so yeah.
And give it all because the championship demands that you give it all. Is that what you've learned?
I've seen the last few years that nothing comes easy in this sport, and especially against Lewis. So yeah, of course, I always try to give it all I have. But if I look at the past recent years, there's always things that I could have done better, and that annoys me. So I just want to make sure that when I get to the end of the year, that there's nothing that I can look back and I should have done that. But you know what I mean.
I mean, there are things you could have done better. You talked also around the launch about the sort of, you know, sometimes you'd have a weekend or so that wouldn't maybe start off right, or, you know, Michael Schumacher always said to me, you often carry your journey with you to the race track. of a weekend. And if you come in and everything's good and you've arrived in a good way, in an efficient way, you know, that can be, then you can have a good weekend. Or if something happens on a Thursday or something goes on and it's like, oh, that was annoying, or something doesn't work out, it sets you up with a sort of mindset that you never really get over. Do you know what he sort of meant with that?
Yeah, I kind of get it. I understand, but I think the key is to allow, let's say, a small budget of things that will go against you and not to get upset about them, because obviously if you give it all and you have high targets, the only thing you want to do is win. But it's a fact that there will be hard times, there will be moments that you feel defeated, but that can't let you to really lower your mood or your good run of performance. So I think you need to have allowance for a certain amount of tough times and take it as it comes, and not let anything upset you. You know, if it's something happens on Thursday or Friday, it can't affect you at all for Saturday, Sunday as well.
Yeah. Something you also said is that you're going to be, that inevitably means that you might have to be a little bit more selfish this year. Now, I love the way you described this, because all racing drivers are selfish, but they're a sort of league like everybody in life. There are some people who are nice guys inherently, and there are some people who just think that selfish is part of their innate way of being. And we can think of we could probably both identify some people who are naturally selfish and people who aren't. But you're one of the nice guys, but you almost have to sort of apologize. I like the way you said, you know, it's not a very nice human trait to be selfish, but you might just have to do it for a season or whatever to win races consistently and be in that place where you can be world champion.
In this sport, yes. If you want to win, you need to be selfish. That's sometimes something I've definitely learned. So yeah, I need to think about myself. I need to keep in mind that, you know, everyone's career in F1 is not forever. You know, it's X amount of time. And yeah, I just want to, like I said earlier, it just comes down to that. I don't want to regret anything when I eventually retire. I don't know when that's going to be, but I want to know that I did it for myself and not for anyone else.
Yeah. Nico Rosberg did a similar thing in, whenever it was, 2016. You know, he lived everything. I mean, he took it to extremes. He slept in a separate bedroom to his missus, didn't bother himself with
That's
the kids.
quite extreme.
That is quite extreme. Don't know whether that's selfish or not.
I think that's pretty selfish.
Have to ask Vivian. But is it unfair to say that you're going to try doing a Rosberg this year?
To sleep in separate bedrooms?
Well, no, I mean, maybe not that specifically.
No. Yeah, so obviously certain things not. Certain things maybe yes. But like I've said many times, you know, I'm not Nico.
Yeah.
I am Valtteri, and I need to try and do things that will help me and how I can get most out of myself. And the main focus, as always, is going to be on myself, you know, my performance and how I can be more consistently at my best and taking every single opportunity on my advantage at the races, and that's it.
Okay, let's talk about the car. Plain
I'm
sailing.
the wrong guy to ask. I've had 6 laps with
you did, yes.
aero brakes on, so.
But Lewis has had a spin this morning. Plain sailing, or is still a bit of work to do? This car doesn't look sorted.
We're sandbagging always in testing, so that's it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yesterday was tough, no doubt. I didn't get really many laps, and even the afternoon session for Lewis was not quite perfect. So, and yeah, the spin this morning, obviously that's happened to other drivers as well, but we're not there yet there where we want to be with the car. That's a fact, but hopefully we will be by the time we come here in 2 weeks.
Okay, I'm sure you will. I mean, we're talking about the championship. Obviously, the main challenges are probably going to be Red Bull Racing, unless McLaren or Aston Martin have something amazing that we don't know about. Red Bull, of course, beat you to that win in Abu Dhabi last time out, largely because in the race you might have been quicker than Max, but it's not a track where you can overtake, let's face it.
Yeah.
But you did have the measure of Lewis, certainly last time out in Abu Dhabi. Do you expect, was that because they kept developing their car throughout the year, whereas the Mercedes W11 stopped development in August and then they never put any more go faster bits on it after that?
It seemed like they kept developing for longer, and certainly we're getting stronger towards the end of the year. So of course we hope that's going to help us this year, because we possibly change the development program for this year's car, but I guess we'll find out.
And what about this year's car? What's the feeling in the factory about these changes? You know, the cynic might look at it and say, oh, well, they've changed. You know, Mercedes had a flat rate car that necessitated a lot of its rear downforce on sealing the floor around the rear tyres and getting that, you know, working that area hard to really good rear downforce. I know. Why don't we just cut that area around completely? That will disadvantage Mercedes, you know, make it a bit of more of a show. And do you think it might advantage a higher rake car like the Red Bull?
The honest answer is I don't know. For sure, I'm sure it was a challenge for any team, not just us, coping with the new wrecks, and it was quite a big loss of downforce initially. I think everyone has recovered some, but not all. So I don't know the answer, honestly, if it's going to be anything to do with the rake or not.
Okay. And where do you think Lewis is at this season?
I don't know. Again, I don't have crystal ball.
He seems, I don't know. He seems, I mean, he spoke at the launch about how a lot of his focus is going to be continuing his work, you know, for racial justice and continuing to work for diversity, and not only in motorsport, but also in every area around the world, which is, of course, admirable, and he wants to push forward real change in that. But, you know, it would be a fool to think that he's not 100% also focused on being, you know, the consistent, relentless driver that he is in the car.
I have no doubt he will.
Yeah.
You know, he just wants to win like everyone else, but even though he's got X amount of championships, no doubt he wants more. So
yeah.
I'm not going to rely that he's going to be chilling.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's going to be pushing hard.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, it's going to be a fascinating championship. I wonder whether that Dutch man, might have a bit more of a say of it this year. But, you know, for the neutral, that's what we want to see. We want to see you, Lewis and Max go up against it, maybe Checo as well.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's too early to say now who's going to prevail.
Yeah.
Or is it? No, it is too early.
It's too early,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But I can't wait.
Okay. Well, listen, you look happy, you look up for it. So best of luck. I hope you get some more laps in the car. I'm sure, you know, we'll talk up, it'll be the usual testing thing. We talk up Red Bull Racing, and then you get to the first race, and then it's...
Yeah, keep doing that.
No, we shouldn't say that. We'll jinx it. Anyway, listen, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
We're going to see what Red Bull have to say.
Take it easy.
Okay, thanks. And here we are at Red Bull Racing with the boss, Christian Horner. How are you? How are things going?
Yeah, okay. It's been a sensible couple of days so far. I mean, obviously we just had an engine cover issue, but that's what testing's all about. Make sure that you learn about the rigidity and robustness and competitiveness of all your, all the components.
So another year of getting beaten by Mercedes, is it?
Well, look, they come into this year as absolutely the favourites. They've been so strong, the last 6-7 years. So, it's the same car as last year, more or less. It's just an updated version. There is a change to the technical regs, which, is obviously may have an effect on things, but I don't think you can read too much into the testing so far.
Okay, you might not be able to read too much into the testing, but let's go back to what you just said, that the change to the technical regs might have an effect on things. Surely, if they gained a lot of their rear downforce from that critical area in front of the rear tyres, sealing the floor in that area, if you make a cheese-shaped cutout of it, no cheese today, then it's going to hurt them more than you, who rely on your rear downforce by running a higher rake. No?
Ted, you sound almost like you know what you're talking
Come
about.
Come on,
so,
tell us the truth. You must be confident about this change.
Way more qualified than me.
You must be confident about this change, that it's going to advantage you.
I think you'd have to have a chat with Adrian about the aerodynamic workings of rake and so on. But look, regulations, subtle regulation changes in Formula One can sometimes have a big effect, and it's been tricky conditions here, but we're focused very much on ourselves, and I think the drivers are pretty happy with the car across the different conditions that we've had in the couple of days so far, and so far so good.
Good. I'm reading your answers. You can read what
you like.
Well, the drivers are happy. The Mercedes drivers clearly aren't happy. They've had a terrible test so far.
Yeah, but that's a quality team. There's still a couple of weeks to the first race. We've seen Mercedes struggle, a couple of years ago in pre-season testing, and then they smashed us all at the first race in Melbourne. So, don't count your chickens. And I think that, yes, their car looks a handful on the track the last couple of days, but we've seen that change very, very quickly.
Okay, what's new on your car? Suspension, gearbox, what have you spent your tokens on?
Well, it's for us to know and for you to find out,
Okay.
a man of your technical knowledge and quality.
Well, apparently you've got a new gearbox and apparently you've uprated the suspension, but I understand if you don't want to admit to that. What about someone else's car? People have been looking at a little aero trick on the McLaren, the diffuser, the gearbox casing, which seems to come around the diffuser. Have you spied that with your guys?
There's some interesting. There always is interesting interpretations, and I think that's part of the appeal of Formula One and how the teams, deal with the technical, regulations and challenges. So it's great to see that innovation in Formula One, and I think there's been some interest. Obviously, so I haven't looked at it in any detail, but I think it's something that's interesting. I think it's a concept that we've looked at, previously, but their car seems to be running well.
Okay, last question, Honda. They want to go out with as much of a internal combustion engine bang as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing from the improvement they've made this year?
Well, I think Honda and our fuel partner ExxonMobil, they've worked tremendously hard together over the winter, and they've made good ground. The engine really is a phenomenal piece of kit now. I mean, they're totally underestimated because they're so wrapped up in the different shrouding. When you see the intricacy of these engines, they're quite phenomenal. But Honda have done a great job. They're determined to sign off on a high, and hopefully we can have a competitive year.
Okay, well, that competitive year might involve wins. If it does, you'll have to think of something else for Simon Lazenby to dress up in, seeing as he doesn't seem to have to dress up in the Lederhosen anymore. Maybe some sort of ninja to honour Honda's last year.
I saw Simon the other day, and it was agreed that the bet, is never finished. So the Lederhosen.
He didn't wear it in Abu Dhabi,
well,
did he?
he's going to have to wear them for the year then.
Can't we think of something else? Something to honour Honda? We'll do some sort of ninja outfit.
Mankini or something for him.
Maybe. You never know. He might like that. Right, okay, Christian, giving a little bit away, I think you'll agree, as to their year so far, but to come rather. But that is the front of the grid done. What about the back? And what about the man who almost won here in a Mercedes at the Sakir Grand Prix, deputising for Lewis Hamilton? George Russell. Let's head down to Williams. And here he is, socially distanced by a bench. It's more than 2 meters, more or less, isn't it? Although I've got to sit,
more or less.
I've got to sit on this nubule, which possibly isn't the right thing. You're being followed here. What's the score?
This is Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Overseeing, seeing how we're doing.
Good.
They just follow us everywhere. So
Good.
They're good guys, the Netflix
They
guys.
are. Series 1 and 2 are tomorrow night. Starting Series 1 and 2 beginning tomorrow night on Sky Sports F1.
Oh, blimey.
9:30. So you can watch all the Gunter stuff. Can't remember what Series 2 was famous for. More Gunter swearing.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen them all, but
Seen the ones with you in?
I did see that one, but
anyone in Formula One scanning through
it's
all of
all,
it.
it's obviously all like dramatised, isn't it, a little bit? So because we know all of these people personally who are in the series, I find it a little bit cringy sometimes, but it's good fun from a neutral perspective, I think.
This is the art of television. How dare you impugn what our art of dramatising things up? This is what we do, darling. Right. How was your winter?
It was good.
Yeah,
it was nice. It was nice to spend some time with my family. Yep. Straight away after Abu Dhabi, we actually went away to Canary Islands straight after Abu Dhabi. Yeah. And
you escaped the lockdown then. That was good timing.
Yeah, it was very, very good timing. Yeah. Literally, a couple of my family just by a day managed to leave and get there and spend a load of time together, which I obviously couldn't manage last year, and that was great. Came back and straight back training. I've had my trainer Aleix actually living at home with me, so he's been keeping a very close eye on how I've been doing. Did the virtual esports thing again, which was nice.
Won it.
And won it. Yeah, it was always nice to get some victories under your belt, even if it's virtually. And that was about it really. And it's flown by.
Well, it was almost victories actually here And when you come in through these gates, do you think,
No.
Bahrain
No.
could have won it twice?
Yeah. No, not really.
Yes,
I mean,
you do. Be honest.
Yeah, obviously I do. Obviously, I think I could have won it, but what's the point of living in the past? You know, it's nothing.
It's a fun memory. Not in a negative way, but in a kind of.
No, I'll
get you one day type
yeah,
way. Yeah.
You know, I look back with a lot of pride, and I think that race, that experience, taught me so much, and how to handle the emotions after massive disappointment, and to be able to go to the next event and again try and perform at the top of your game. And equally, what was interesting is, you know, I qualified second. It was my best ever qualifying position in Formula One by a long way, but I was disappointed being second and not being on pole because I got out-qualified by my teammate by 20 milliseconds. And that was also sort of a good lesson for me, saying, you know, just if you get in a car that's capable of winning championships, doesn't mean that psychologically it's going to be easy. If you could be on the podium every single weekend, but you could come away disappointed if you're getting beaten, and that's I think that's a good lesson for the future.
Well, you listen, we loved it. I mean, we hated it and we loved it. You know, anyway, a nice memory. I mean, not a nice memory.
Yeah, it was a good memory. It was a good memory.
Okay, good. Right, what of this new car? What can you tell us? We're doing front and back today. So we've done Mercedes and we've done Red Bull, and we're doing, at the moment, you're at the back of the pit lane, I should say. But I've got an idea that you might not be at the back of the grid this year.
Potentially, who knows? I think, you know, who knows? On days like today, it's so windy, you can see it now, it's sandy, unrepresentative conditions, and until we get to qualifying, I don't think anybody's going to know. But I do believe we have made a bit of a step forward.
Good.
Obviously, it's all relative. From what I understand, a few teams have made steps backwards due to the regulation change.
Yep.
So it depends on the others. But I think at least we want to be fighting the Haas and the Alphas as we did last year. Hopefully ahead of them. I think the Haas could be vulnerable. And closing that gap to the midfield. How much we do, who knows? But yeah, we'll see tomorrow when I jump in, I guess.
We'll speak to Mick Schumacher in a second. Haas may well, by their own admission, be vulnerable because they're not doing anything to this car.
No.
Hardly developed it, didn't use any of their tokens. They're concentrating everything on 2022. So they might well be two rookie drivers. They might well be at the back. And I think you've got a very good chance of being ahead of the Alfa Saubers as well. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to see that the car's made a step forward. To hear the car's made a step forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, well, that's more or less it. You've got to go, I've got to go. So let's see, indeed, what Haas have to say for themselves, and we'll round up the rest of the day, day two here at Bahrain. Thanks, George.
Thank you very much, Ted. See you later.
Night has fallen, and, well, here he is, Mick Schumacher. No, so, it's here, Mick. The mic. There we go. There we go.
Oh,
You're right.
Okay, there.
He's doing something arty with a transition from daytime to nighttime. You know, don't worry about him. Tell us, what kind of car do you have underneath you for the season?
A comfy one.
Comfy one.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Still, obviously, trying to get used to the new seat, but the car feels good. Team feels great, and I think in general we have a good package.
Nicely balanced.
Yeah, obviously we still have room for improvement, but I think who would say that their car is perfect after day one? So I think we know what we have to do. We have more running tomorrow, so I think we'll have everything we need to, come to Bahrain hopefully with a good package.
And the good thing is that I might as well do Haas where we are. So the most laps for one team, 76 laps for Nikita Mazepin in the morning, P14, and 88 laps for yourself, P12. The times don't mean anything, but the car's certainly reliable. And how is that important for you in terms of finishing races, seeing the checkered flag for the first few here, Imola, Portugal, to get that experience under your belt?
Well, it's obviously important. I mean, you want to finish, but definitely, it's good to see that after yesterday's issue, today we had no issues. Everything is resolved, and we've been able to get the laps under our belt. We've been able to learn. Obviously, every lap, every mileage we do is experience, is information that we get as a team to obviously come to Bahrain with good knowledge and good experience.
And is there anything else you want to practice on your last day before a race weekend tomorrow?
I mean, I think in general, just knowledge everywhere. I mean, it could be race ones, it could be qualifying, it could be starts. So really we want to be able to just learn across the field and be as prepared as we can. Even though I feel very prepared already, we still we never stop learning, and so that's really our aim.
Okay. Any idea where Haas will be? Ahead of Williams? Behind Williams?
I think it's hard to say right now. Everybody's kind of sandbagging and not showing their pace. So I think so is everybody across the field.
Yeah.
And therefore I think we'll have to wait till Bahrain Q1 and obviously take it from there. Very
wise answer. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone.
Thank you,
Sabine. Have a good final day tomorrow. And they did do the most laps, So that car really is reliable. Cheers, Mick. And it was a reliable Williams, actually, as well. The single driver to do the most laps of the day was Nicholas Latifi, with 132 laps next door at Williams. P7, again, you can't really tell anything from the times, but his only day of testing, he did qualifying runs, Latifi, he did race simulations. It was a bit windy, but he said, the Canadian said that was good to actually practice some laps in the windy conditions. But the car was reliable, the Williams was reliable as well. So George Russell will do exactly the same tomorrow. So if it's difficult to tell which one of them will be at the back of the grid, take the wise words from Mick Schumacher and let's just wait until free practice. But we might have a pop tomorrow at what the sort of competitive order is once we see some of the long runs. But I might give you one at the end of the notebook, see whether I'm right tomorrow. Right, Alfa Romeo Sauber. A decent day for them. Antonio Giovinazzi did the whole day, 125 laps, P5. He did his program. He sorted everything out he wanted to. Second highest number of laps as a single driver, and they are reliable as well. Kimi Räikkönen does the whole day tomorrow. That's it for Giovinazzi. Next stop, Bahrain. I mean, next stop here. Next stop nowhere. Next stop where he already is. I'm sure he's going back to Europe. He might not be, you never know. AlphaTauri. Yuki Tsunoda took the morning session, 57 laps, P11. Pierre Gasly looked like he might head the session before Valtteri Bottas came in and stole it off him. So P2 for Pierre Gasly, 87 laps. A lot of laps, no problems. Did a lot of tyre work and some setup work. But Gasly likes the car. He thinks it's better. He's had a better start to testing than he normally does. He has done in previous years. So it's going well for him. And no mistakes from Yuki Tsunoda. Again, solid. Very, very solid. Just waiting for the Japanese rookie to make a mistake. Doesn't seem to be, so it's going really well. Bit of a mystery still at Ferrari. They say they're working through their program slowly. They haven't had any nasty surprises. It's generally positive, in line with what they're expecting, but it doesn't seem to be spectacular. They're saying it's too early to say, but they haven't had any, nasty surprises. So basically, essentially what Carlos Sainz was saying yesterday. Here is Sainz on the grass over here. It's a good platform from which to go. But is it a championship winning car? Probably not. Podiums? Yeah, you never know. Absolutely. Sainz did 56 laps, P13. Charles Leclerc did 73 laps and P6. So you never know what's going to happen. But Ferrari look solid, if nothing more than spectacular than that. Fernando Alonso at Alpine was actually pretty good today. His first, the Prince of Asturias, with a titanium plate in his jaw. The first time back in a proper Formula One session since Abu Dhabi Grand Prix 2018. There are a few little issues. His radio was a little bit loud at one point. He had to sort that out. His engineer was putting him off when he was coming onto the radio. You don't want to annoy Fernando. Did some aero correlation, did some long runs as well. Pretty sure he did a race run, even if it might have been interrupted at one point. I can explain the fat engine cover of the Alpine. It was a compromise. They wanted to slim down the side pods to increase the airflow to the back to get around the hit that they've taken on the downforce loss because of this new floor regulation. And to do that, they've got to put some of the stuff that's in the side pods. So they thought they'd move it higher up the car. And where it hurts them in centre of gravity and having, some heavy stuff further higher up the car, which you don't want. You want all your heavy stuff and all your bulky stuff low down in the car. It hurts them in that. It helps them in the aerodynamics. So the compromise is actually that it's a faster way to go with the car to have all that stuff higher up in that sort of fat, looks like a sort of Matra or an old Tyrrell, doesn't it? That sort of fat engine cover. There's a lot of stuff, there's a bit more cooling stuff and some electronic control boxes, we think, up there, where have to take them out the side pods and put them up there. So that explains the fat engine cover. The Alpine boss, Davide Brivio is here today, and Laurent Rossi as well, the car company boss, was here today. So we'll catch up with them at some point. And Fernando Alonso, a bird relieved itself on his head during lunch. So is that a lucky? Look, he looks full of the joys, doesn't he? Is that a lucky portent for the season? Probably. Sebastian Vettel, 10 laps and P16. Not a good day for Sebastian Vettel at all. Electrical problem with the gearbox. They did have to change the gearbox, unrelated to the gearbox problem that Mercedes had yesterday. It's not the same problem at all, but that meant that Vettel only did 6 laps. He got out with 10 minutes to go of the first morning session. A few more laps, but it wasn't a great day all round for Sebastian Vettel. Only P16, well, last, and only 10 laps. Not a good day at all. Lance Stroll, a little bit better once the car got going again. 71 laps and P3. McLaren. Now, this clever diffuser that they've got that we've been talking about all day. It is legal. It is clever. No one else has thought of it. People might copy it, but it's just using that area around. They've found a little loophole. Maybe it's not right to call it a loophole, but they've lowered a little bit of the diffuser to just increase the airflow through the diffuser. Critical part. They've clawed back some downforce, and they've found something that nobody else has. So all credit to McLaren. They do look like potentially the second quickest team, but we're not quite sure who's the quickest. I think it might be Red Bull at the moment. It could potentially even be McLaren second, and it could even potentially be Mercedes third. Ooh, there's one, isn't it? Well, we'll have to see what happens on the long runs tomorrow. But Daniel Ricciardo, 52 laps P9. Lando Norris, 52 laps also, and P4. Red Bull, very solid as they all seemingly wait for their afternoon tea. Sergio Perez, 117 laps, P8, very solid. Perez as happy as Max Verstappen. As we heard from Christian Horner earlier, they had an engine cover fly off, but those kind of things happen. But otherwise, it's all very good. And Mercedes, they did steal the fastest lap in the end. Valtteri Bottas, 58 laps, P1. But they had to use the very, very softest C5 tyre to do it. And Lewis Hamilton in the morning, 58 laps and only P15. So another scrappy day, a so-so day for the world champions. Are they in trouble? No. Have they done the mileage they want? Absolutely not. But can they recover? Yes, they can. So are they the fastest car? Well, I don't know. How about this for a COD order? And we'll see if we're right tomorrow. So check back with us for right tomorrow. Red Bull quickest, then Mercedes, then McLaren, then Aston Martin, then AlphaTauri, then Ferrari, then Alpine. That might change. Alpine might be above Ferrari. We'll have to see on the longer runs. Then Alfa Romeo Sauber, then Williams, then Haas. How's that for a guesstimate order? But you'll have to join us tomorrow for testing to find out. And that is the notebook for today. Mercedes quickest, but was it a mirage in the desert that will disappear on the testing's final day tomorrow? Join us to find out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.